What up, y'all? It's your boy Crescendo. We about to get live with Anonymous XI. Come on. Why you wanna go? Why you wanna do? Why you gotta say that? Remind me of my past. Why you wanna go? Why you wanna do that?
Yo, what's good, Brody? How's everything?
The single, bro. It's
Yes,
fire.
sir. Appreciate that, bro. That's love.
How you been, bro? How's everything going? How's life?
Good, man. I can't complain, man. Grateful, man. Another day of life, and yeah, the single dropped, bro. I'm excited. First single that I dropped. Actually, I think the third single I dropped this year, but this one's is special, man. Yeah, it really got me in my bag, and I think I got to share a lot of my heart on this one. So
Yeah, I think it's one of your realer singles. It's one of
yeah,
those
man.
songs that you get to like have that conversation with people.
Yes, sir.
Word up to everybody that's joining in. We are live with Anonymous XI here on the Hype. You got the site in the background. My
Yes,
boy
sir.
doing the thing. Make sure you check out anonymousxi.com. But yeah, man, I just wanted to bring you on, talk about the new single, talk about the tour, Boom
Yes,
Track.
sir. Yeah, man.
In a matter of 2 months, we did like 12 shows?
Yeah, about 12 to 15 shows.
12,
Crazy, man.
15?
Yeah,
That's
man.
right, bro. You gotta add on some of the other side shows that we jumped on and did,
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Even yeah, the Ozone Hip Hop Fest, which was crazy dope, man. Adding things like that. For a lot there, we did 2 shows in one night, which was a very crazy experience. But yeah, man, super glad that we were able to go on tour, man. Those 3 legs were amazing, man. Amazing memories, amazing shows, man, and just glad to be on the road in the middle of a pandemic, which is crazy, man. So, and staying healthy by God's grace. So.
Yeah, man. I thought about it, man, and I thought about God's grace through it all.
Yes, sir.
How He provided, how He just set up and opened doors that wouldn't been open for other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely wanted to talk about this single. So you dropped this single. Why? Um, what's been the reception, and what's your heart behind the record?
So, man, the reception so far has been crazy dope, man. I've got people just chiming in from across the board, man. I got, people across the states and stuff like that. Even got some love across the pond and stuff. So it's been dope, man. Yeah, man. So the reception's been great. People reposting, enjoying the record, man. And then, man, my heart really, man, it has three layers to it, man. Like the first part is confusion. Like when we ask the word why, usually we're confused. We're trying to figure things out. And the song is really about shame, like wrestling with shame in an honest way. And shame has this confusion nature to it. And then the other 2 angles to the song is really conversational. So why do we amplify the shortcomings in others while minimizing the shortcomings in ourselves? And then the third part of it is really a conversation, a dialogue with myself, which is, why is it hard to forgive yourself? Like, in the hook, I talk about like, why you got to go and do that, why you got to go and say that. Like I'm talking to myself. You remind me of my past. So yeah, those are the 3 layers, man. But really, the heart is wrestling with shame and in an honest and authentic way. So
And I think a lot of people can relate, and we're not perfect people at all. No one's perfect. So
facts.
the idea of shame, the idea of struggling with pain and grief, and how you react to it, that's a big theme. That's a big moment where you ask yourself, why sometimes, why?
Yeah.
And I dealt with that question a lot personally. Like, why do I put myself through the same things? Why do I struggle with this? And when we talk about convictions and we talk about different things that we go through, I'm gonna be real with you. we shouldn't ask ourselves too much why, but what's next, you know?
Correct. Yeah.
And, you know, luckily we're both Christians. We believe in a God who forgives and loves. And what we know what next is um, our life with Christ, our life in God, and how He can shape us and mold us and use those events, and how God works all things together for His good. Right, Romans 8:28. So I feel you on that. I feel like it's one of those things. You know, I personally had those questions of why myself.
Yeah.
Recently, you know, I dealt with my loss of my sister, you know,
Yeah.
and I struggle with that. I struggle, you know, with the what ifs and what could have beens and the regrets I have. But there's one thing that is clear after we did her memorial service, is that she loved us, she loved everyone, and she lived her life, you know, to bring people to Christ. Her
Gotcha.
husband wasn't Christian before he met her, and she, you know, basically brought him to church. She goes, "You want to date me? You know, you have to come to church with me."
Gotcha.
And he was like, "All right, I'll go to church. I mean, she's cute, you know." And little did he know, God was working in him,
Gonna
and
use
God
that. Yeah.
brought him. He told us a story yesterday that cracked me up. He's like, you know, he was sitting in church, and you know, and he starts hearing the pastor go on about this person, and they need to change their ways, and da da da. And he was so mad at my sister. He's like, "Yo,
Yeah.
what did you tell your pastor? What did you tell your
Why is he
pastor?
talking to me?
Why is he talking to me?" And she goes, "I didn't tell him
Tell him
anything." He
anything.
goes up to the pastor, goes, "What did she tell you? What did she tell you about my past?" And he goes, that's called conviction,
Yeah.
you know. And I think we can talk about that and have this conversation with this song, because that's what it is. We ask why sometimes, but it's sometimes the honesty and the truth. You know, the truth shall set you free, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
like, when does, you know, we can ask why. That's probably the main reason why, is because God wants something bigger with our lives. God wants something deeper
Facts.
with our lives.
Yeah. No, yeah,
So,
facts.
you know, when we're talking about the single and things like that, you know, I was like, man, we should just debrief the tour live, and that was my thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he dropped a single. We'll talk about his single, but let's debrief the tour live for people. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you know, we started out doing 3 shows back to back in Orlando.
Yeah.
Um,
Friday through Sunday, I think, something like that. Yeah.
Yep, we did a Friday show at Boom, ironically starting off the Boom Trap tour, right?
Ah, boom. That's funny. I didn't even put that together. Yeah.
And then we did Hanau, and we did a fundraiser to impact Orlando and our city. Um, you know, we were able to raise like $2,000
Yeah, for the homeless. Through
for the
salt.
homeless,
Yeah.
and that was powerful.
Yep.
And then we teamed up with your boy Patrick at Shamrock to
Yeah.
do an event at Grumpy's, and what I loved about it is that it was the smallest spot, but I still think out of all the shows, it was still the best sound.
They had the best sound system, hands down, 100%. Their sound system was amazing. And the cool thing about those 3 shows too, like looking back, it's like 3 totally different demographics. So it's like you wouldn't even get these 3 groups of people in the same room, but we were able to, you know, like impact and be able to, like, you know, like use our craft in front of all these people and reach different groups that maybe otherwise we wouldn't be able to, because of how different every show was and every venue was. Not, you know, not to mention kind of the heart behind every one of those shows. So crazy, man.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the nail when it comes to different demographics and bringing people together. Um, I curated 2 of the shows, but the
Yeah.
thing is, I also, um, when I saw what we were gonna do, it's something that I never done was 2 shows back to back in the same
Mm.
city. Um, so I saw it as an opportunity to do something bigger, and that's
Yeah.
where the idea of helping out the homeless ministry
Mm.
came in. Working with Wilfredo, working
Shout out
with
Wilfredo, man. Good dude.
working with Dolores and Jonathan. These are artists that are dedicated to Orlando, dedicated to the city. And even me, like we took money and time out of our schedule to plan this show and I know talking about it doesn't seem selfless, but we were trying to do something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Which we
not
ended
to
up doing,
sound
man, which is
yeah.
crazy.
Um it's just crazy how God works.
Yeah.
I think about um the event at Grumpy's, and what I loved about it is I had some real true friends come out and support,
Hmm.
some family. I had family come out. I had our family at the commission,
Yeah. Shout out to Benny, man.
shout out to Benny, shout out to the homie Nelson, and
Yes,
shout
sir.
out to Rob,
Yeah.
um, really grown to love the conversations that I have with these guys, grown men that are just really digging into, okay, well, I work hard,
Hmm.
and just because I work hard doesn't mean I'm going to go out and be crazy, but I'm going to have a
A
good
good
time
time.
with my boys. And what I think is powerful about that is that we have to see ourselves and have our moments where we can kick back and relax.
Agreed.
Now, to everybody, there's different ways you can relax. Obviously, people can take that to an extreme,
Yeah.
and relax for days at a time, But I
Moderation is
think,
key, man.
yeah, yeah. So that put it on my heart to do something like, man, I made a couple of appreciation posts after that because I really do appreciate them coming out. Because we did our show at a late time on a Sunday night,
Mm.
and that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Um, Am as well showed up and showed
Yeah,
love.
that's right. Shout
Don't
out to
want to
Am,
forget
yo.
Am, I know, just in
Nah, of
case he
course not.
jumps into the live and then tries to jump me afterwards. Uh, Nah, but then we did something different, something that I never thought we would, is we did a couple of shows in a small little town called Newport Richey.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
you know,
And
and we made a drive out to the Tampa Bay area,
hmm
saw a little bit of Tampa, um, checked out Ybor during the day with the
yeah,
guys. But we had conversations, we hung out.
that's some
I
real
think for
conversations
us,
too.
we had some real conversations with the guys. We talked about what it means to be an artist, what it means to put on a showcase, what it means to honor your word.
Hmm.
Because sometimes you get promised for shows and
Yeah.
you get there and the shows can be empty. You know, you can do as much as you can as a promoter, as a person. Um, we're doing shows in the middle of a pandemic, like you said earlier.
Correct. Yeah. So logistics wise, it's hard to get people to come out. But yeah, that 100% agree. Honoring your word and stuff like that at the events and stuff that you committed to. 100% important as an
Yeah,
artist and as a person. Yeah.
and the Lord did come through and pull through, and we got to rap at Crossover
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, that was actually
in
crazy.
Tampa.
Totally forgot about that. Yeah, that shout
You
out
know,
to Pastor Urban D out there, man. They're doing some
yeah,
great stuff
Pastor
out in
Urban
crossover.
D, Pastor
Hey,
Tommy.
men's.
We'll be having him next week on the hype as well.
Oh, that's
So
awesome, man.
I'm excited for that. We're gonna have a good show. We're gonna talk about Flavor Fest and everything that's coming up with Flavor
Dope.
Fest. So definitely super excited about that. Definitely super excited to continue the passion and the purpose that we have with our music, you know, and have that conversation about how is hip hop impacting the world around us. So we got lucky because we rapped at both services, and then we also rapped for the youth group for both services.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it was very unique weekend. It was very, you know, kept us on our toes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah, yeah, that weekend was, and I think that's a good way to put the entire tour. It's kind of like we're on our toes, but in a good way. It was like a lot of learning experiences, and at the same time, you know, a lot of like just growth throughout the whole thing. Like I literally, that's why I was saying, like, you know, coming back to the thing, like releasing this track and then everything like that. Like there was so much momentum coming off the tour that I think like not having those shows behind my back and having that win behind my back, you know, it was just a great catalyst because it, like you said, like the conversations we were having, the, you know, the one-on-ones and stuff like that, the, you know, all the experiences and people we met started informing the music. So, but yeah, man, the weekend in Tampa, those shows were great. And, you know, it's funny because we did so many events that totally set my mind that we did crossover, but that was a really great experience to go from performing at the Sunday service to then performing for the youth and like, you know, just getting to meet everyone that was over at crossover and stuff like that. So, and also before I forget, shout out to Immense, who kind of helped us coordinate that too. So big shout out to him, man. Great dude out in Tampa, originally from Newark, Brick City.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely big shout out to Amends. It was definitely a good connection, definitely a good conversation that we would have.
Yeah.
And what's super exciting about that is that, like, we made some stronger and lasting relationships out of it. I know it was funny because we were a little strapped for cash, right? We
Yeah.
get into this tour and we were like, all right, I guess we'll bunk together. But I think for the most part, I think that's what made it more enjoyable, that we had the
100%.
conversation where we could stay up late and have those hilarious conversations.
Yeah. That definitely
But
built camaraderie, like amongst the, you know, all the artists and stuff like that. Like everyone that was on the tour, like I think the fact that we were able to like share experiences, not just during the event, but like before and after, ended up being like a great thing. So I completely agree. We started as, you know, as peers and artists and left as like brothers and stuff like that, and you know, lifelong
yeah,
friends. At least from my perspective. So
yeah, no, and then I think for us, it almost seemed like we didn't really get that much of a break because then 2 weeks later, we rocked Ozone Hip Hop Fest and we rocked
yeah.
Sanford and East Orlando by Full Sail area, Geek Easy. So I think that was interesting too because Sanford was a different crowd, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Completely different crowd.
Mm-hmm.
It was dope. It was a really dope
Yeah,
crowd.
beautiful venue
And,
too.
yeah, and I think having the live guitars was like just fire, you know.
A whole different energy, man.
So I definitely want to shout out Mars from Crooked Pilots
Yeah, man.
joining us, and then you joining us on stage and getting you to do Joy Live.
That was dope.
You know, no pun intended, brought joy to my life. You know, it was just definitely one of those things that we had a good time. We got to connect with the crowd. We had a good,
Yeah,
lot of good energy. When you did your set at the Geek Easy. I love when you're able to do some of those other songs that are just a little bit more intimate.
yeah,
Because then you can have that conversation with people and kind of get things going that way, right?
oh yeah,
I think a lot of people feel that way when they hear the track about your mom.
yeah, yeah,
You know, it's a heavy track, but what I think is just one of those things that like people like to show off their tattoos, right? But then if you have a real scar, you got a real story behind it, you know, on how you got that. And that can be a deeper reflection on life and that moment, you know. And I
Yeah.
think some of these songs are tattoos where we flex them, you know,
Yeah.
but some of these songs are the scars that, you
Mm.
know, really reflect a moment that impacted our lives, and now we can have that conversation. You know what I mean?
That's a great
Um,
analogy.
you know, I think our conversations, you know, about how you dealt with grief and um, for me, like recently, it's actually helped me, you know, to understand that, you know, I personally, I don't want to hold it back. You know,
Mm.
I was the guy at my sister's memorial yesterday in tears,
Mm.
and I know, you know, you know, for some people they can't see that, they can't handle it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Some people smile because they're just nervous, they don't know what to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And some people just hold back because they feel like they have to be tough. And
Mm-hmm.
I know personally with me, I can't fake it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't fake it. So
Mm.
it's been a tough thing to deal with. You know, and respect to Biz because towards
Yeah,
the end of
man.
the tour, um, we found out Professor Biz
Passed away. Yeah.
was in the ICU
That's
and
right.
he passed from COVID as well.
Yeah, man.
Um, so I know, you know, rest in paradise. You know, Jesus has definitely got some. He's got our boys up there. He's got,
That's
you
it.
know, our family up there, and it's been a really dope experience to know that we were able to honor him with our shows. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. Yeah. That last show was dedicated to Biz, man. So RIP to Biz, man. You know, mad love to the whole Hilltop Society, man, and his family too. Yeah, that the whole logistics around the last show and them coming over from the memorial service to actually rock the last show and stuff like that. And you know, A. Lewis and Illis representing for, you know, their entire collective on the tour that was a surreal experience, man. And the way that A. Lewis was really able to, you know, I think he actually did one of Biz's songs with the backing band, and to see the energy of the crowd and just like, you know, everyone that was there showing so much love to Biz that was a surreal moment. And it kind of serves like what you were saying, like, you know, I know it's a recent thing, but like how music, you know, like you said, can be a tattoo or it could be a scar. Like with Biz's thing is like a scar, but it's also a reminder of like the hope that's within us, you know, like as we move forward and things like that. So it was super dope. Like, yeah, man, that was a sobering and a very joyous moment at the same time. And that, you know, that tension was it was healthy to feel, you know, and to see. I was like, man, like, so yeah, man, RIP to Biz, man. You know, much love to him and his family.
Yeah. And again, just like Orlando and just like Tampa was different, we had different crowds, we had
Yeah.
different demographics. When we came into South Florida, we didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, that.
We showed up in Jensen Beach, and
Mm-hmm.
we rocked with a crowd of 20 that gave us more energy than almost every single one of our shows combined.
Big
We had
facts.
kids dancing. We had kids popping, locking, like break dancing. You know, shout out to the homies that supported us out there and Stewart. They showed us love, man.
They
And
definitely did.
you know, we grubbed with them. We had some barbecue. It was great. You know,
Yeah.
and then what was crazy for us is we're driving to our hotel in Hollywood. And then, you know, Kanye decides to drop his album live on Apple Music.
Yeah. We watched that whole Donda experience, which was crazy.
So we're like, Donda, like, what is this, you know? Like, what is going on, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's certain moments in life you want to experience. And, bro, like, honestly, I was like, man, there's no one else that, like, would have been as excited as I was than you. Like, because, like, we both sat there in the
Yeah.
car and watched it for, like, 30 plus minutes, like, what is
And
this,
it's
you
just,
know?
yeah, it was like a thing after it was like an experience after an experience after an experience with that whole Donda thing. It was crazy dope to see. You know, and yeah, exactly. It was like one of those like things like you experience certain things in life, but like you're like, yo, if this person was here, it'd be like amplified and like 10 times more dope. That was like the exact feeling I had when we were, you know, when I was like I think I was scrolling through my phone and I was like, yo, bro, like I was like, yo, Donda, and you're like, yo, it dropped. I was like, nah, it looks like they're live streaming the thing, and then we just watched it. And like you said, we were there like 30 plus minutes just in the car, just vibing out to it. So crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it was definitely a really dope experience. And then that Friday, man, I tell you, I struggled, bro. It was hard on me because the venue canceled.
That's right.
So when the venue canceled, we're like, what do we do? How do we rock? How do
We
we
got to figure
continue
something out.
forward?
Yeah,
But of course, you know me, I'm resourceful, right? You know,
making phone calls.
I was making phone calls. We went online. We found two open mics. And
Hmm.
again, I think, like, no lie, we've been able to rap from people from age 3 to 80. I don't
Yeah,
know if
no,
you
that's true.
realize that because
That's
the
yeah,
first open mic we get to, we had it felt like some real artists, like people that love music.
yeah, that's
They're
true.
playing guitar in their like 60s, 70s. I think some of them were 80, bro. They
Hmm.
were just up there and they were killing it. And
Yeah.
it was like a reflection of like, man, bro, you know, is Crescendo gonna be at these open mics at 80?
Only time will tell.
Time will tell, right? So it was beautiful. I would say that it was beautiful, and
Hmm.
you got to go back to those spoken word days, right?
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
that
that's
was
where
dope.
that's where your love for hip hop came from. I know
Yeah,
you love hip hop, but then it's like your first experience was actually writing spoken word.
correct. Yeah. That was my segue into like hip hop in general. Is just poetry. You know, I started as a poet and then segued into music. You know, like hip hop and stuff like that. So yeah, so being there at the first, you know, at the first open mic that we did with, I think it was Zen Mystery. That joint was dope because, like you said, everyone that was there was like that. I mean, they were. You can tell that they played like it was a lot of acoustic sets, but those, you know, those people were playing instruments for years, and you can tell some of them were polished like live musicians, and they were just doing it for the love. So it felt great to be back at that roots and stuff like that, and being able to do poetry again was a great feeling. It's been a while, man. So I'm definitely glad that we got to hit that. And then, like you said, I didn't again like you know in hindsight, like I didn't even notice the age, you know, kind of like the age range of people we were impacting, which is super true. Like we've had very, very, very young, like, you know, all the way from like, I guess for a lack of better words, like Gen Z, TikTokers, all the way to like boomers, and it was like still like people resonating with our music or you know with our words and stuff like that, and it goes to
Words,
show,
yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say it goes to show the power of stories and how they unite us as people, you know what I'm saying, like you cast your net very wide and you'll be surprised who's listening. So that was
Yeah, the
awesome, man.
words, the words we speak are powerful. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And I
Facts.
think we were able to share our hearts with multiple generations, and God called us to speak to different people at different points in their lives.
Mm,
And with the words we spoke, impacted people's lives. We leave this Zen mystery vegan spot, and we make it to an Irish pub, and
yeah.
this is a crowd of comedians
Hmm.
with some very raunchy mouths.
Yeah.
And here comes these two conscious hip hop artists that are Christian, doing their
Yep.
thing. And then we come in and we're like, okay, let's do our thing,
Hmm.
like, and, shout out to the host. She did a great job of integrating music and integrating comedy all in one open mic night. And we got to meet some people from all over South
Yeah.
Florida.
Facts.
Met some hilarious comedians, and we were able to do something that was bigger than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I think that's incredible. You know,
Yeah.
um, and then going into the tribute for Biz, that was powerful.
Yeah, man.
Uh, and I think, and that was an even different crowd because it was a
Yeah.
young adult crowd. It was
Yeah.
past you. It was like,
Yeah.
um, it was like
Definitely.
a late 20s crowd. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
You
That
know,
that
so
crowd was
we
definitely
had a good
different.
range of like everybody and doing something for everybody. Um, and I think what's cool about that is that we can go back and say we did all that, and we
Yeah.
had great conversations with people before and after the shows.
Yeah.
You know, we made
Yeah,
some
man.
great connections, and I think my plan is to keep things moving, and um, I think we both had the idea to relax for as far as shows for this month,
Mhm.
and just get back to music creating.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And your wife killed it with those photos. She killed it with
Love, man.
the designs. So
Yeah,
Liana, if you're
those.
watching, I'm sharing the roses while I can, man.
Yeah, man.
Um, I'm excited because I was gonna help with that, but to see God use even that to connect you and your wife, that's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
super dope. Yeah, that was a great way for us to, just build. Like we're constantly trying to build, but to, us being creators and stuff like that. And my wife is blessed enough to be, have her hands in a bunch of different projects and stuff like that. But for us to work together and kind of cultivate and bring this to life was super dope, man. And but this ain't the last project, so I'm excited. I'm actually excited what would happen if collaboratively, like my wife, yourself and I and maybe whoever else, like, we can bring into the fold, like to do like a crazy either like rollout or things like that. So like this is just the beginning, man. Like
oh yeah,
it's really awesome to get my feet wet, in regards to like dropping music and stuff like that again. And the reception has been great, man. So yeah, I can't imagine what the future is gonna be like, Lord willing. So
yeah, man. So, I'm definitely excited. This month definitely crept on me. Like it crept up.
yeah.
Like it's already the 17th. Like, bro,
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, this month flew,
like
bro.
it's crazy how fast time is going. That's usually how the end of the year goes. It's like
Yeah.
speeds through, and then you're at the beginning of the year, like, oh, now I have
Oh
my New
no.
Year's resolutions again.
Yep.
New year, new me.
Yeah, new year, new me.
Yeah, I had this conversation with Benny, and I told him it's like this has been one of the best years and worst years of my
Mm,
life. You know,
gotcha.
um, best. Creatively, we're moving, we're pushing.
Yeah,
We got some really dope stuff that we're doing. Right, where we
yeah,
got we got music. We're rocking shows. We just did a tour. You
yep.
know, and then the behind my head is like, oh my gosh, you deal with loss, you deal with pain. Um, I feel like behind every dopeness is like something that like
It's
kicked me in the
attention.
side, stabbed me in the back.
Yeah.
I got like all these wounds on my back, and people just see me smiling. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Bruises, and I'm
mm,
like, what's up, y'all? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I still show
yeah,
up with a grin. Um, but I think it's definitely making me stronger.
yeah.
And that's what pain does. That's what grief does. I think that's some of the why. That's some of the why is that
Mm,
all things do work together for the good, man.
yeah.
Um,
That's good stuff.
I'm definitely grateful that God trusts me to handle this because
Mm,
I sometimes feel like I can't. I'll be real with you. One of my biggest struggles is anxiety.
mm,
And anxiety has hit me so hard recently.
Right.
because I have a lot of things that are out of my control,
Mm-hmm.
but I know they're in God's control.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to say, oh, it's in God's
Yeah,
hands.
it's
You know what I mean?
hands. Yeah. But
But
practically living like that, it's like, okay, well, what does that even we're pragmatic people. We're trying to figure things out, and what happens when you reach the end of figuring out, or even worse when like not worse, but when you scale back and you realize like, okay, well, honestly, like yo, like 99.99% of these things are not ever really in my control and stuff like that. But certain things kind of blow the lid off things, and then you realize in certain situations more than others that hey, I'm not in control, and then you have to exercise your faith. You know what I'm saying? That's the
mhm.
and I think that's too like why scripture says like we go from grace to grace type thing. Like we go, it's because every moment is truly like that, but we're sometimes under the illusion of like autonomy, like oh we're on we have our own reign and control, and the truth is like no, we're just living vicariously through how God blesses us and stuff like that. But it strengthens us, because it makes us not just look to ourselves but look up, and that's kind of where um that's where the greatness happens. We look up, we receive, and then we apply, as God gives to us. So crazy.
Yeah, man. And I think as we dive deeper, as we look, as we move forward, it's just we're gonna come into a place where, as creatives, you can run dry on what to talk about. And I think
Mm.
with everything that's been going on, I ain't going dry now. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot
you
to
know,
tackle, bro. Yeah.
and I know it's crazy. I just think about God and the way He does things and sets things up.
Mm.
Even this past weekend, he set me up to rap at my home church. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. Yeah, man. I
And
saw that too. Dope
it
stuff.
was it was a push for me to do it. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
But that was actually part of it. Was like, you
Mm.
praise me in the storm, and that's what I saw it as. It's crazy.
Mm.
He works in such mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, I'm excited. We have your new single out.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna throw this playlist up so people can vibe to it. We got, if you ain't familiar with Anonymous Excise catalog, you're definitely gonna get familiar with it. Definitely check out his new site. And we got some new music on there from Illish, and we have some from Andy Mineo. And then I did throw a couple of songs from Biz to show some love.
Yeah, man.
Um, and then our boy Tank's on there as well. So I put together a quick list, but something that you can ride through the city with your, you know, riding, feeling with the ghosts.
Ghosts. Yeah, man.
So I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for everything that's gonna come, bro, out of this single, because I can see the fruit coming already.
Dope.
Um, People are definitely feeling the visuals. I talked to some people; they told me, these are dope.
Dope.
And even like it's there's some subtle things about it that you could tell were intentional,
Yeah.
and some of it that was just like the wind, whatever, just at the right moment.
Yeah.
So God putting His hand on it. You know what I
No,
mean?
100%, bro. It's a lot of this things, man, with art and stuff is like we plan, but the intangibles make the greatness. It's in the minute details, and it's funny. Great things happen when they're not in your control. So and that should be a solace to a lot of people. Especially like people like you and I, and probably a lot of the people that we relate to that may not talk on it, but the whole thing about anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Like so if there's
Mhm.
any comfort through the art, even in stuff like like the rollouts and stuff like that, man, the intangibles, they're in God's hands, and He does a great job of taking care of those things, man. Because that's you know, that's what he majors in. You know, we're just stewards, and he just sets it up, and we just knock him down as he sets it up for us. So, but yeah, now you hit that right on
I,
the head, man.
I thought it was dope that, you had an album cover and it still switched.
Yeah,
People don't know that. You had
yeah, yeah.
a single cover and it switched.
Hmm.
And if I was there, who knows if that would have happened? You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, very
It's,
true.
it's, it's just one of those things. But I definitely want to shout out all our homies, Lewis, Illish, Tank, the people from Hilltop. We're praying for you guys, Jekka
Yes,
and
sir.
ET, and of course, my family, everyone, and Shannon's family. Definitely, my heart goes out to them, and I'm excited to see what music continues to flow out of Feel Good, out
Yeah,
of
man.
Anonymous XI, and your work, bro. I definitely, you made me a believer. I'm an XI fan now.
Nice. That's love,
So
bro. I appreciate that.
if you want to give any shout outs, go ahead. Feel free to give some shout outs.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, man, shout out to my wife, Leanna Designs. Amazing work on the rollout. Super glad that we got to put this together. And thank you for helping me bring my concept to life. Shout out to my Feel Good team, Crescendo, for helping me with the marketing rollout, giving it a big push and stuff like that through the city. Shout out to everyone that's been streaming it, people that have been showing love. Shout out to Benny, the commission, for always reposting the stuff and showing love. Shout out my man Dante, just for showing love out there in New York City. Even people across the pond. Shout out DJ Adek, Mr. Tech. Just shout out to everyone that's been showing love, man. And a big shout out to just God, man, just for always providing the way and giving me the creativity. And as he continues to work through me, I just hope I can bless people, man. But yeah, man, shout out to everybody, man. The people that tuned in, I appreciate y'all just taking a few moments of your day just to chime in and listen to the music. So yeah, man, definitely grateful to be here, bro.
Yeah, man. Everyone, I hope you're safe. I know things are tough, things are hard. We're living in a time, where we got people pinned against each other with
Yeah,
worldviews. And honestly, we just want to bring you feel good music. We want to bring you dope music. So if you do have a chance, make sure you follow and turn the notifications on for the hype. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Keep up with us. We want to keep these conversations going with dope artists. We want to keep the conversations going with real people, and these are real combos. This is
facts.
something that we want to do that is definitely bigger than us, bigger than who we are, and we believe you have a purpose too. If you're watching and tuning in right now, God has a bigger purpose and plan for you. And if you're going through anything, you want to just hit our inbox and share your thoughts, we're here. Hit me up at I Am Crescendo or the Hype Radio Show. And Anonymous, thank you so much for coming through, bro.
Thank you, my brother, for having me, man. You have a good evening, man. God bless everyone that watched. If you don't know, I go by Anonymous XI. You can follow me at Anonymous_XI. I'm pretty sure we could get that all tagged up, but thank y'all for taking the time to rock with me, man. Peace, y'all.
Just remember, it could be worse, right?
It could be worse.
Check out the playlist, and we out, y'all.
Peace.